You need to learn to let go and allow your people to do their best, right?
Exactly.
Another thing that I learned from you that I want to emphasize for the audience, you are where you are in big part because you knew that the secret of being a good leader is show your people that you are there for them, to support them, to be of service, to facilitate their work. You're not necessarily then to be the boss and to be a sergeant to tell them, you shall do this and that and this way. No, I'm here for you. You set the parameters of success, and then you let them live within that box. Welcome to the Leaders in Tech podcast. I am your host, David Mansilla. This podcast is dedicated to interview incredible minds, amazing people that are leading others through technology in helping move their organizations. These organizations are making this world a better place. I created this podcast because I saw the huge need in leadership, awareness. The internet has a lot of technology information, but they never focus on the leaders that actually are making that technology available to everybody. So what a beautiful example. Today we have with us Hoda. Hoda, welcome to the show.
Thank you, David. Thank you for having me.
Hoda, for the audience, can you please tell us your full name, where do you live, and what do you do for a living?
Yeah, sure. My name is Hoda D Alshami. I live in Columbus, Ohio. And what I do, I'm the technology director for network, edge, security, automation, and observability.
That's amazing. What does your company focuses on?
It's more like insurance and financial company. So we have PNC, we have commercial, and we have financial products as well.
That's fantastic. You know, when I meet the leaders in technology like you, I get so amazed and humbled because it's not easy to become a leader. And also, it's not easy to become a leader in technology specifically. And you are both. And it's incredible how you achieve that. So let's research your past. I want to know what steps you took to be where you are. So let's look back in time. Imagine you go back to your last year in high school. What was in your mind? What were your goals, your objectives? Did you want to go to school? Did you want to start working? What happened back then?
Yeah, that's a good question, because when I remember back in the high school days, I have no idea that I will end up in technology at all. No idea. But I know back home is like you have to be, if you are good, if your score is high, actually your score is, decide where you go. So my score were high, so it's always going to be like something in the medical field or engineering. So medical field, it's not for me. I'm not that good. I just get scared with all this stuff. So I have the engineering path. And when I look at the engineering path, I like more architecture and design and interior design. So I went to the architecture engineering school. And I went there for like 2 months. Then I saw all my friends went to the computer engineering school. So they kind of, convinced me, we all here, it's good, it's blah. It's like, okay, I'll join. So I just dropped the architecture and I went to the technology, and I end up with a degree in software engineering.
That's incredible.
I know. Yeah.
So
then I started to like it.
Your friends got you into computer science then?
Exactly. Actually, it was very new. That branch, it's very new. It was like branch from the mathematical engineering. So they have that software engineering, and said, okay, let's go and do it. And I started to do it because I love math. So it was a good transition for me. And we started, taking all those coding courses and stuff. It started to make sense. And at that point of time, I was at the top of the world when I'm writing a code and I compile my code and see my code working and do something. So I remember I got very excited when I got my first computer, when I wrote my first hello, and it's amazing. I liked it. And at that time, I thought, this is what I want. That's exactly what I want. Even when I start my first job as a programmer, it's like, this is great. I want to stay there. I love what I'm doing. I got promoted to a tech lead, so I'm kind of, the tech lead for that application, working with my end user, trying to get their enhancement list and coding them, working with other colleagues. So I said, that's what I want. That's the life I want. That's the work I want. And to be honest with you, with my manager come to me and ask me, what's next? What's in your development plan? I don't know. Like, I like what I'm doing. I want to stay doing this until I'm tired of it. So leadership was not in my, plan at all at that time.
It's hard. It's hard for a highly skilled technical person to become a leader, because unconsciously, if you are good at something, and you have especially if you have an engineering degree, especially in technology, you know how to be the leader of yourself, no doubt. You have to lead yourself. You have to have self-discipline, the ability to burn the midnight oil and go the extra hours. People that are listening to this podcast and they have a computer engineering degree, they know that it requires many nights without sleep. It requires cooperation with other people. It requires research. And even like that, sometimes you fail exams. Even like that, sometimes you almost don't present your work on time because it doesn't compile, right? Mm-hmm. It's not easy. So you are actually building leadership skills to manage yourself, which is requirement number one to become a leader. But we do it unconsciously. Mm-hmm. So we don't know we're becoming a leader. And breaking out of that is very hard too, because it's very easy to manage yourself. I mean, it's not very easy. Most people in the world don't even know how to manage themselves. But it's very easy to manage one person. It's different to be responsible for other people, right?
That's a true statement.
When you mentioned Hello World, you just brought me back when I was 15 years old. I remember when I wrote my first line of code, print, quote, Hello World, quote, semicolon, hit compile and show me, and boom, it just showed Hello World. Wow. Pretty meaningless, but it's the first line of code that I ever written.
I know. I'm feeling jealous now from the developer right now, because that coding has changed. Back then you need to write everything. The library was like almost there is no library. If you need to write any function, you have to write it. Any procedure, you have to build it from scratch. But now with this enrich in libraries, like everything is there. It's just a logo, and you need to put them together and connect them and glue them, and here you go. You have a very powerful application. Back then, you write everything from scratch. So you're right. A lot of long nights and struggle when something doesn't work as expected.
And it's getting even easier. I asked ChatGPT to write an HTTP request, and it wrote it for me in front of my eyes.
Oh my goodness, that's another story. Another story, yeah.
But you still require computer engineering. You're still going to require the brains to tell the AI what to build, especially when it comes to modular programming and building mass level systems. We're still a little bit away from that, but it's going to get there. But you're still going to need the architect, the engineer, to tell the computer what to do, and in a way that the computer understands, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So you graduated as a software engineer. What was your first job?
My first job was a software engineer, actually. And I was, it was in retail, one of the big retail companies here in Columbus, Ohio. And they had a big project. They have their main enterprise application that decide what product go to what store for how long. So if you think about it, you see, they have like multiple stores, like hundreds of stores, and all their stores look alike. That's not by chance happened, because there is a program behind that tell which product go to what store and what's the theme, and they have different themes. So that's what they call like space planning application, and they're looking to rewrite it from Visual Basic to VB.NET. So kind of normalization in enhancement for the whole project. So I was hired for that. I work with consultant. I work with team leads and stuff, and we were able to migrate it to the new version. And then I had to support it, and I have to build the backlog and the roadmap and all this stuff. So that was my first assignment. I was very scared. I was very afraid. This is my first job, official job. I went through internship before during college, but this is my official full-time job. Yeah, and I was very scared, but I think just I got lucky with the great colleagues with me that really helped me and, show the value in me and tell me you can do it. And they push me forward.
It requires faith. When you go from one step to another, if you don't have faith, you don't do it. You just go and you accept the job offer and you're like, oh my God, I never written something commercial. And before you know, people are helping you. They're saying you're good at this, and then you apply yourself. Of course, you're disciplined because you're a leader of your own life, and you start growing and prospering. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, it is.
What did you do after that?
So after that, this is where, after being in that role for 40 years, I started to kind of, looking for something new. And at that time, mobile technology was the new technology. So I said, I want to, learn that mobile technology, and I want to join that team, the mobile development team. At that time, it was more like offshore. They kind of, outsourced that. So the company have their web application, mobile application, but it's not written in-house. It's not outsourced. Then at that time, I was like, okay, I want to learn it by my own because I feel like this is the new things. Web technology is great, but mobile is, the going forward. So I remember I have this where I need to start. Do I start, creating iOS apps or Android? And because I'm more like an Apple person, I got my first Mac and start learning the iOS and get the books and stuff, and trying to build my first app. And at that time, my manager left the company, and I was chosen to be the one in the interim manager, like managing the team. And that's really changed my whole, thinking about, what's my next step. Because once I stepped into that interim manager, and I got invited into different type of meeting, dealing with different kind of people, it really helped me to understand, okay, what I was doing is good, but I don't think it's fulfilling for me anymore. Because I felt, as a programmer, okay, I get the requirement, and I'm just, transforming those requirements from human language to a computer language, and my impact is just on this piece of code. And that's what I do. It's like one piece of the big puzzle. I want to be involved, in a planning phase. I want to involved in the architecture phase. So that's really helped me to say, okay, maybe, that's not my dream job anymore. My dream job is to be a people leader, a manager. And really what helped me when people, see that in you before you see it in yourself. I think was a big push for me, because you say, you can do it. You are very approachable. People like to talk to you. You help people. People come to you and ask for your advice and stuff. So you're already doing that, just the title. So that's really opened a new window for me. It's like, okay, that's what I need to focus on. I need to focus on leadership. And at that time, I was looking for another job at that time, and when I'm looking for another job, it's like, well, I need to play on my strengths, and my strength was I am a developer. I have a good experience writing code. So I applied for a developer opportunity in .NET at that well, and where I got an interview, and the first question in that interview was, why are you leaving your job? It looks like you have a job. Why are you leaving your job? I said, okay, because I'm looking for a leadership opportunity. And my current job, they see me as a developer. And that's it. I'm looking for a leadership opportunity. I'm looking to be like a technology leader, an application owner sometime. Then they said, okay, we have an opening for you. We have, my friend, my colleague, they have an opening, and they're looking for an application coordinator enhancer. And this is basically managing with that authority. So you won't have you won't be people leader, meaning people report up to you, but you're going to manage the work, and, and you're going to do all those responsibilities to get the work done. Are you interested? I said, oh yeah. So a week after I interview for the other opening, they have, and I end up getting that job. And they really, I work as 1 year as, you can call it like kind of, a scrum master, kind of, application enhancer thing. And I try to help them put a new process, rally people about this new process and implement it, then, enforce it. So it was a great opportunity for me to see a problem, put a fix in place, put a process in place, and keep people, get people alignment and for that process to become the process. And funny story here, because that process I put in place that for technology audit, for IT audit, was very successful and people heard about it. So other, people from different organization, different tower inside the same enterprise came and said, we need to know more about this process you have, Huda. And I remember when I stepped into that meeting, they have it on, they had the agenda and they put like Huda process. And the first question was, can you tell us what that Huda, stand for? Because we heard about it, it's a great process. It helps you improve your productivity and stuff. What does that stand for? Like, this is me. This is my process. That's not like, they kind of, that was like very, very funny. But it really helped me. It helped me to see, okay, when you have a faith in yourself, when you put your heart into something and get it done, people see the value and, and ask for it. So that was good. So this is my, first kind of, position, managing without authority and in a leadership role. And after that, I followed with an actual, position with technology manager and having people report up to me. Have a team, basically.
Have a team responsible. They are responsible for it. You touched a great point. Leadership is a calling, and is a gift that you're born with. You can learn to become a leader. Don't get me wrong. But if you grab somebody that doesn't have that vocation, that doesn't have that gift, they can learn how to become a leader, but they're going to do a very good job and they're going to be miserable. I made the mistake. So I'm blessed to run a software consulting company. We build applications for actually insurance businesses and banks and stuff like that. And about 10 years ago, I decided to talk to my top architect. And because he was the best of the best in the company in coding and architecture, I told him, you need to become a leader. And I forced him into become a leader. And it was a terrible idea. Once he became the leader of 10, 15 people, half of them quit. He almost quit. He hated it. So he went back to being an architect and everything got stabilized again. And I learned my lesson. People saw leadership skills in you before you saw them, right? But it's because you had already a way to treat end users. You had a way already to deliver your own job. And it's something that is a calling, it's a gift. I'm not saying that you cannot develop it. You can, but if it's not what you're meant to be in this life, it's going to be a sad life. There's people that just love coding all day, or writing architecture diagrams, or doing infrastructure, or just being deep in the technology. And I've seen and I know people that are great technologists at 65 years old. They don't even want to retire. They want to keep writing code and learning the next technologies and being the best architects, never leaders. Isn't that amazing?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We've seen that over and over. So it's very important to know what you want, what's triggered the fire in you, and keep doing what you're doing.
How did you get your first actual team? Like, what was that leap of faith that got you into your first leadership role with responsibility?
Okay, so it was so the team was like kind of, different. Like I have kind of, two generations inside the team. So I have like young people trying to, prove themselves. And we have like very senior people, like they have their own way to do stuff. And kind of, merging these two work together was a challenge. So and it was interesting because I have like different personality as well. So, and I came with a big change. I came with a change like we need to apply Agile. We need to apply DevOps. we need to move away from the waterfall to the agile, to the scrum, to the Kanban board, and using all the DevOps tools. So it was interesting because regardless of the generation, and each generation is different, but personality is different too. You have some senior engineer that really they don't like the phased approach. You need to lay out the plan from A to Z, and they need to be sure every step of the way. So those need different attention. And you have other people like, they really get bored. They want to write code, that's it. They want to set a requirement like for hours and weeks trying to come up what the user needs. They just want to, hey, give me what you want. Let me try something. Let me do a quick show and tell for you. You see it. If you like it, that's okay. Move to the next level. If you're not, okay, start with go from scratch. Yeah, so that was very interesting, like generation-wise, personality-wise. But I think the best way I did, like, just to have a clear vision. So make sure everyone on the same page and say, this is what we're trying to accomplish for this year. And how you're going to do it, it's up to you. But, I'm here to support you and we need to work together. So I think, having a good vision, clearing the expectation and knowing like you are there to help, that's really what helped me. But I have my other, I would say, challenges, because I'm more like hands-on, because that's my first position. Like I'm not writing code. I'm not, in the weeds. So sometimes especially when I know how to do stuff, I feel like I want to jump and I want to like monitor what they're doing and be over their shoulder to understand, did you do this? Did you do that? Then you notice like people, not everyone like that. People think this as micromanagement. So I have to learn my lesson and step back and like, no, okay, I'm here if you need help, but you work on it, you design it. I'm not going to design it for you. You design it, you work on it. If you are blocked, let me know.
I have a great experience regarding that. And the problem is that, again, you were a great developer and in your mind, you thought that people needed your help coding. And now you have seasoned developers and they have their own way of doing things. And that doesn't mean that it's bad. I was like 3-4 years into my business, and we got hired to build this large accounting system for the largest real estate software in North America. They were rebuilding their platform on the cloud. They didn't know what to do because it was client server before. So they hired us because, we were experts at cloud computing already back then. And it was a build from scratch. But the owner of the business was growing, was about 100 people, growing. But the owner of the business was a coder 20 years before, and he wrote the first version of the software that they were selling, the accounting software. It was an ERP system for real estate. And sometimes he will come and see go behind my coder's shoulders, and he will try to see what they were typing. And when I saw that, I'm like, "What, dude? What you doing?" But he was my client. He was paying the bills, right? So I'm like, how can I tell this guy to back off? Because he was making everybody nervous. I had to talk to the vice president of the company, and it was his partner. And we fixed the problem. But imagine somebody breathing back your neck, and he didn't know anything about object-oriented programming anyways, let alone cloud development,
I agree.
But he was afraid that, that we were not doing a good job before we actually even showed anything.
Yeah. I've been
That's
there.
a leadership skill that you need to learn. You need to learn to let go and allow your people to do their best, right? Exactly. Another thing that I learned from you that I want to emphasize for the audience, you are where you are in big part because you knew that the secret of being a good leader is show your people that you are there for them, to support them, to be of service, to facilitate their work. You're not necessarily then to be the boss and to be a sergeant to tell them, you shall do this and that and this way. No, I'm here for you. You set the parameters of success, and then you let them live within that box. Because you need parameters, right? But you need to let them live within that box and give them the trust that they will deliver and guide them through success, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's incredible. That's amazing. And that also requires faith, isn't it? How did you feel when you said, oh my God, now I'm responsible for these guys? It's not my code anymore. That's nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah, you know what? When I think about it, whenever, I get to deal with something new, I don't know what's in me, but I feel like, I don't get scared. I feel like I have a lot of work ahead of me. Let's, start the work. Let's learn. Nothing is, I feel like all the option is open. I want to learn. I want to be sponge. I want to learn. I want to be sponge. I don't get into judgment. And I learned that from, there is a book for Jack Welch, and he said, you need to get smarter. When you start anything new, any new position, your 30, 60, 90 days, it's more about asking questions, learning. Don't jump into any conclusion. Don't do any assumption at that time. It's just about be like an open page and meet with everyone, try to understand the world, understand the people. After 90 days, you start to put some assumption. You start to put some kind of, plan going forward. And this is what I did, I don't know, okay, I don't want to, I learned my lesson, like I don't have to be in the weeds with them, because some people think about it, it's not trust, or think I'm a manager, and I'm not, I don't like to be labeled, especially in early stages like that. So I give them their freedom, but I know okay, I need to get the freedom, but I have something to monitor and see, are they on the right track? So yeah, it's like I don't get scared, which is good, but I feel like I need to work harder. I need to do more. I need to spend more time on that to understand more.
Another great lesson. You went actually read a book to figure out what you needed to do next. That's information is out there and it's at our fingertips now, right? And a good leader of oneself is the one that looks for the information and does the research before start making your own mistakes. And what a great lesson. Now you read that you needed to learn. They hire you on a position that is higher than you used to have when you get a promotion, which means they hire you because they know you can learn. Because you have never done that job before. So how can you do the job if you've never done it before? But they know you can learn. And by learning, the only way to learn is to be humble enough to realize that you don't know what you don't know. Exactly. So I think humbleness is a key skill that any leader needs to become a successful leader.
Exactly. And ask a question. I always say, I'm gonna play my new card now. I'm going to ask a question, and maybe ask the same question twice. And basically, I find you ask a question, it helps. It's not help me, it helps the team as well, because it uncover a lot of stuff, like a lot of opportunity in the processes, gaps, for instance. So asking question, I feel like my strategy, asking question as new. Then once I've been with the team, I ask question to help the other see the response. So I tell my team, sometimes I ask question and I know the answer, but I want others, I know some other had the same question in their mind, and I want them to hear the response. So that's another advice, I think, when you start a new thing. Don't be afraid to ask question. There is no dummy question. All questions are good.
That's so smart, and it's true. A lot of people are afraid that they're going to disturb everybody else, or they're going to waste their time. And actually, you waste more time if you don't ask questions, because then you assume how to get something done, and then when you deliver, it's not what they wanted, or it wasn't a good fit, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
What happened next? What was your next promotion?
My next promotion was expanding my responsibility and getting another team, and that team come with a new technology altogether new technology. It's more
new technology. Wow. Yeah. Now it's getting interesting.
Yeah, it's more like cybersecurity stuff. It's more like secure edge. it's more like secure gateway, secure private access with big project and big commitment. So that was a big thing because I joined those project kind of, and not in the middle, like in early stage, but I was not involved in those, that decision, the key decision for this project, why we're doing this, why we're doing that. So I inherited that and I inherited the team. And that was a big challenge for me because I got excited at the beginning because I really appreciate the opportunity. When I look back, I appreciate like it's a big project and I appreciate the leadership so that in me and trust me. But I have it in my mind, like I need to catch up. I need to understand the language they are talking because now cybersecurity, it's new to me. I came from the app development area and they're talking different stuff. And all of that, it's more like we have a lot of this like fire drill. Like you need to act now, you need to act now. There is an issue, you need to fix it. Yeah, so again, back to my strategy, starting with any new thing, 30, 60, 90 days, I spent my day during the day being an all-day meeting with the team, trying to get the team, know them on one-on-one, let them to know me, be very open about my communication style, my leadership style. It's more like an open door. I'm here to help you, but I need to know what you are working on because I need to understand the work and I need to ask more detailed questions. And that was, a different from the leader before me. So the one before me, he was more like a high level. Like he doesn't ask those like in deep question. He's just, okay, take this, work on it. For me, especially when I started, I need to understand the details because so I get like more like bottom up. I need to understand the details so I can get at the end of my 90 days, this is the high level. This is where we need to go. Yeah, so that was challenging a little bit because team think like I'm asking those questions because there is no trust. So I have to build, and I say like more one time, this is my style. I need to understand the details so I can help you because I'm talking on your behalf in a room that you are not there. And I get asked a question. So I need to make sure like I know what's going on so I can answer your question and make sure like, I give you all the credit you need. So that's worked out very good actually. And now we have a great relationship. On the technology side, I need to understand all those technology. So I did a lot of Googling. I talked to our vendors and do you have any document on this, any training? I asked, to have any recording session. So it ended up like they recorded all the sessions. So I have around like 100 hours of recording meetings. So I have to go through them and watch them and imagine like when you watch that video and there is a lot of buzzwords that this is the first time an acronym. So you stop it and you go and Google, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? So it's like more about like connected the dot. But the good thing about technology I've seen so far, like it's a mindset. It's really a mindset. It doesn't matter what programming language. It doesn't matter what architecture. If you have that experience and the problem solving, those like soft skills, it's going to enable you to understand any technology and any architecture. So that's the beauty of it.
You have the foundation, number one. Number two, you have the right attitude. Number three, you have the curiosity and you have the discipline to learn it. You're right. I remember we had never written a video game before. We're a business. We do business software. That's our focus. But this large company, they were failing at their game like miserably, and they lost millions of dollars already. They were 2 years behind the project, and they hired us. We started with 6 senior architects. I told them we never written a video game before, and we're experts at research and at software development. So if you trust us, we can help you figure it out. We rescued the project. We hired the right people. We fired the wrong people within the organization. We grew the team between the two teams were over 250 people, and we delivered successfully under the new budget. Obviously, they had to expand the budget because they had spent most of it and they had nothing to show for. And we did exactly what you said. right? We got everybody together in harmony. We told them everybody's towards the same goal here. The goal is to finish this project and to make sure it's delivering what it's supposed to deliver. And so once we got everybody on board, once we got talking with the leadership properly, once we set the right levels of leadership too within the, that large team, everything started rolling better, and it got better. And with constant continuous improvement, with Kaizen, with Agile, with Scrum, we did Scrums. That's how I learned to manage remote Scrum teams, how to do leader of leaders programs, the roll-ups, the high-level overviews. We were all the way up to the CEO. And I mean, that company, it was a multi-billion dollar company. This game was just a little section of their business. And everything started to flourish, and it was a great success at the end. But it's because we brought transparency to the people. We stopped the backstabbing. We stopped that it's not my fault, it's your fault. We said, it's everybody's fault. So drop it, right?
Exactly. I always tell, and this, because all the project we do today, it's very complicated. And basically you have a lot of dependency. And you really have to work in partnership with different organizations inside your enterprise. So I always say, and sometimes you feel those people like, this is my background. Why are you asking this? Why you do? What's your intention? So I always like to end that discussion with, we are all one team. We fail together and we success together. It's not like you and me, like we all together, we have to finish this project, bring it to the finish line. So I think the managing without authority really helped, because if you think about the top skills for any leadership, it's not about managing your team, people who report to you. It's more about managing your dependency, managing people who doesn't report to you, but you need to influence them and put them aligned, and and make sure you align their goals with your goals, so you all succeed together, gain together,
and prosper together, right?
Exactly.
I remember telling to the entire team, we had to make a round of letting go of people, because they were so bitter to the point that they wouldn't contribute. So we let go of a large amount of people from their side, and I had the authority. I acted like I was inside the company, and I had the authority from the CEO. Not even the CIO, the CEO. I had the authority to even do whatever I could to save the project.
Wow.
And thank God I also had the blessing from the CIO, so everything was fine. After that round of firing, we did a town hall, and I was to the point. If we keep blaming each other, it's going to be the entire team who's going to be gone, because there's not going to be any money left to do payroll. So this is the day that we change our mindsets. This is the day that we become transparent. This is the day that we run truly agile, that our Scrum says the truth every day, that our sprint plan is respected. It was a beautiful day, because you know what? I gained their confidence back. And the few bad apples that stayed that we didn't know, most of them turned into good people. The other ones will let go eventually too, right? Because the problem is, when you have one person with a really bad attitude in your team, regardless how good they are technically, they start polluting the other people. And everything starts with the mind, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. It's contagious.
And that has nothing to do with video gaming, but it has everything to do with leadership. This applies to cybersecurity, to software development, to network infrastructure, you name it. Right?
I agree.
Life is incredible. Do you ever encounter a problem in your life by being a lady in technology and in leadership? Like, did you ever felt like you couldn't move forward just because you were not a male?
I don't like to think this way, basically. I don't like, I'm not the person, like, because I'm minority. So minority, like, I was not born and raised in USA. I have an accent. I am a woman in technology, which is dominated by men. So my mindset is not about if I am a woman, maybe I have less challenge, I have more challenge than if I was a man. But I always feel like my work needs to speak to me. If I'm doing a great job, regardless, people should say that. Yeah, I don't like to have it as an excuse. And I tell my daughter the same thing. I don't want you to be just because, don't think, if everyone will have a block, you'll be blocked. You will have a bad day. Don't think because of XYZ, something you cannot control, like which is your race, your religion, your gender, whatever, and that's put you down. Don't think this way. Think about it. It's a room for opportunity. Learn from it and move forward. Because I hate that negative thinking. And I see people use it and overuse it. And really, they hurt themselves and they hurt the people around them because they always feel like we are the victim. If something I cannot control, I'm born with it, I cannot change it, I don't worry about it. Even if I know, people, because as you mentioned, because I am a woman, I'm not getting the chance or I'm not getting the opportunity I desire. I don't like to think that way and move forward. People will see the value in me regardless.
What a beautiful answer. What we just talked about made this podcast one of the best podcasts I have ever recorded.
Oh, thank you.
Because it's true. Playing the victim mentality, it only gets you into bitterness. And once you're bitter, there is no more growth. There is no more leadership. There is nothing. What a way to approach life. Congratulations. I had kind of like a similar pathway to you because I'm also an immigrant. I actually was born and raised in Guatemala, moved to Canada after I graduated for computer science. And at the beginning, I was very afraid of my accent. And I remember my first job as a developer, I was shy and I on purpose tried not to talk to people because I was ashamed of my accent. And I remember my director calling me into my office and he said, you're an excellent programmer, but I also know that you are a good person and you need to speak up. Why are you not talking? And I said, well, to be honest, I'm afraid that people will not understand me because of my accent. And he says, that's nonsense. You are playing the victim mentality. Use that to your advantage. Use your weakness to become your master weapon. And turn it into a positive, into a positive state. And he says, make fun about your accent in front of people and you'll see how they will relax. And I actually landed at the early of the 90s into a town that it was 99% German.
Wow.
It was actually called Berlin, and they changed the name to Kitchener during the Second World War.
Wow.
But everybody treated me beautiful. It was my own limitations, my own beliefs. It was my own self-judgment. They were fine with me.
Yeah. I know exactly. This is a big trap we put ourselves in. And believe me, if you have those people who like to discriminate, they will find anything to make a big deal of it. So it's the wrong is with them, not with us. That's what I say.
And you know what? Bad stuff makes a lot of noise. For example, if you cut yourself in the finger, it's a little tiny cut, but the blood makes it feel like you're dying, right? It's the same with people that have negative feelings. They're a lot less than you think, but they make a lot of noise. The world is filled with amazing people. Most of us are very, very good people. So all we got to do is focus on the right thing. Mm-hmm. And like you said, and never playing the victim mentality. Ever, 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 ever. Right?
I agree 100%.
Hoda, what a beautiful leader you are. I thank you. I thank you so much for your time, for your leadership skills, for saying yes to the challenge, for stepping up. And now this podcast is better because of you. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm going to ask you one last question. If you had access to a billboard in front of the busiest highway on earth, what would you write in it?
I would say like, be happy.
Be happy. There you go.
Yeah.
That's, again, is the positive mindset, right?
Exactly. Yeah. If you have the positive mindset and try to make the best of your time, your day, whatever you have on your plate, you will do it. But if you're not happy and you feel down and sad, nothing will make you happy. It's all inside you.
It's a decision, right?
Yeah.
When you
Exactly.
say be happy, it's a decision.
Yeah, be happy. You have to make you have to make yourself happy so people around you be happy. And if you are a leader, you need sometimes, even if you don't feel it, even if it's not if you're not on the top of your game, you have to pretend like you are good, because people coming to work on Monday and you starting your stand-up, and if you feel like very bored and tired, that's contagious. Everyone in the team will start their day on that note. So no, you have a big responsibility. People trust you. We all know if you like your leader, if you have your manager, your life will get better. But if you have a bad manager, that's going to impact your life. You're going to take it back home, your family and friends. So don't be that bad leader just because you have a worst day, your worst day or bad day. You're going to reflect on your team. No, be on the top of your game, be happy, make a decision, force yourself, say good morning, high vibe, and that's it. And and when you pretend you're happy, you end up be happy. Be honest with you.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
I mean, it's not about hiding the reality, but it's actually choosing to be positive despite the problems of life.
Exactly. Because everyone
if you
has
choose
a
to
problem.
be negative, it's a downward spiral, right?
Exactly. Yep. Negative people, we always find something to make a big deal of it. Don't be like those people. Always look for the full side of the glass, right? The full part.
Beautiful. Hoda, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. If people would like to ask you more questions, where can they find you online?
Oh, yeah. So I'm active on LinkedIn. That's where I am most of the time.
Fantastic. Hoda, thank you so much. Thank you for making this podcast a better podcast. And this is your home. Whenever you would like to come back, I'm here for you. Blessings.
Thank you so much. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Cheers.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Leaders in Tech podcast. Check in next week to keep learning how to use technology and leadership to change the game. See you next time.